everybody. I give you a second to get the ping that I'm on. It's freezing cold this afternoon. Wait, the sun is just now popping through. Like, kind of. It's playing peekaboo all day. I'm so cold. I just decided to get into bed and get under the covers. Sometimes you have those days where it's like either a sauna, a hot tub, a bathtub, or just getting under some covers. That's the only thing that can get you warm. So, yeah, spring is here, but not every day is spring like. Not yet. So, we have Venus retrograde and entered Pisces today and is conjunct to Neptune at that last degree in Pisces. So, this is worth doubling back from the forecast this morning and talking about. So, thanks, Venusian. So, while Venus is in Pisces, we have a deepening. We've been looking at how can we put ourselves first in good ways that are beneficial while Venus is going through Aries, and how might our the selfishness be not serving us. So there's appropriate selfishness and there's inappropriate selfishness. So we're learning how to tell the difference. When do we put ourselves first in a way that's just inconsiderate? When do we put ourselves first in a way that is self-loving? So now that Venus goes, marker. Now that Venus goes into Pisces, we're looking at how do we love beyond the superficial? Real love. And not the fake Pisces idealism. I'm infatuated with you. Oh, I'm over the moon for a month to 6 weeks until I find too much out about you, and then crash. And then we have the sugar hangover. That's not what we're talking about. We may see through that if that's our pattern. We may see through the unbelievable superficiality of that cycle and the fruitlessness of it. And see, too, the heart of things. It's really worth investing in keeping loving because it's not just a mirage. The mirages of romance typically are the most attractive because it doesn't include everything. It only includes the stuff that we want to see. And we get to fill in all the gaps with our preferences. So there's a realness that as Venus goes backwards into Pisces comes in. Now, we may have to pop some bubbles. We may have to pop some illusions. And go through a process of heartbreak in order to get to wholeness, realness, completeness, a truer love. So when we're on the Aries wheel superficiality. Things go fast. We get into romance as fast. We go through the process of, the just being so overcome. Can't think of anything else. It's just, we're over the moon. But it can't last. It can't last because we have to keep out the truth so we can stay on the high. So with Venus and Pisces, we can understand that you can have the feeling of that high in a real relationship. You don't get it all the time. It's not going to be the distraction that seems to be the cure for all your problems. But in a functioning relationship, a good relationship, there's plenty of sugar. Most people are used to platonic relationships or transactional relationships where things dry up. And that's not what we're going for in the age of Aquarius. We're going for relationships that are more about acceptance, two people coming into the relationship and their wholeness. Relationships that are modeled after compassion and non-attachment. We learn about compassion and non-attachment in Pisces. How to love truly, madly, and deeply. And how to get what you keep. How to keep what you get. Sorry. Trying to mess with trolls here. Pretty active today. So think about what you want. It's always a Venus thing. Just a second. I have to see if we have a delivery. Hold on. We do have a delivery. So you guys are going to have to wait for me for like 30 seconds so I can check out this delivery. Okay. Sorry about that. So we have to think about what we really want. And then we have to consider what's in our head, what's in our heart, and what is deep within our soul. Because we want to choose what sits right with us on all levels. with Venus going into Pisces. And if we're conflicted on one level, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, we need to figure out what is it that isn't fitting? What is it that isn't working? And that can apply to relationships, that can apply to jobs, it can apply to even friendships, things that we invest in. Does it strike us well on all levels? Because if it doesn't, if we get into something over the course of time, the part of us that wasn't in agreement is going to start speaking up. So we have to make sure we're in agreement of all levels of being in agreement. So 29 degrees with Neptune today. Anything at 29 degrees, it's at the end of a cycle. Pisces is the end of the end of the end of the all of the cycles. So we revisit something from the past, or we reconnect with something from the past, or there's a ping. Venus retrograde always does that. Brings something back around. 29 degrees Pisces with Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces. That's like an insane amount of coming back around. So many of us can be dealing with things that are unfinished business. And we need to bring a close to those things so that we can begin a new cycle. We have a solar eclipse coming up, partial. And this is something that opens the door to new types of personal expression. Now, with the lunar eclipse, that opened the door to emotional expression, feeling, getting in touch with our unconscious processes and figuring out what is going on within me. What am I driven by on the inside? What is happening with my emotions and my unconscious feeling judgments? Now we look at, because we're coming to the solar eclipse, what is happening in our conscious life, our day life. So we had a very introspective, oh, is that why I do what I do? And now we have a yang event. And we start to act on things. So we can act on some of the epiphanies that we've come to. With this upcoming solar event. Venus being at this particular degree with Neptune is figuring into that. So we may fall deeper in love with ourselves. And we need that basis of love before we can really love another. You hear that all the time, right? You hear it all the time. You can't have love unless you love yourself first. But do you really know what that means? Do you really get that? Do you really understand what it means? Or is that just a phrase that you've heard so many times you think you know what it means? You think you understand it. There's a lot of things like that in life. We've heard it all our life, and we think we get it, but when we slow it down and look at it, maybe we don't understand it. You can't have real love from another unless you love yourself first, or unless you have self-love. Because you won't be honest. You won't be vulnerable. You can't be transparent if you don't have self-love first. Because you'll do whatever you need to do, to whatever degree. Some people go farther than others to get that love outside yourself. If you don't have self-love, and if you can't support yourself, we get into relationships with a very deep agenda, expectations, needs. And so we get into a plutonic situation. And we won't be honest if we're counting on somebody else to support us. And won't be honest if we need somebody else to take care of us. So we can only be as honest as will be accepted in the dynamic. Especially if you're counting on somebody to support you and or take care of you, and they are only okay or tolerant or comfortable with a certain type or level of expression from you. Over the course of time, we'll mute ourselves. We'll edit ourselves. We'll play small. We won't be completely honest. So it's kind of a broader topic than that. There's more to say about it than that. Why you can't have love if you can't love yourself first. And that's what I got today. So let me take a couple questions, and then if I get too frustrated, because we've got extremely disrespectful trolls going on today. Who's to say if they're even conscious beings? Let's see. Hey, Donnie. You're curious about Venus and Pisces and Neptune together. Well, that's what I've been talking about. It's increasing the themes of unconditional love and elevating out of old paradigms that were very much about monetary exchange, the dowry system, transactional relationships, where you really can't be yourself. You have to play small. They get very stale. And they require plutonic tools. Captivated mouse. Well, some signs feel this retrograde more than others. Well, certainly, if you have planets in Aries or Pisces, or planets that are personal planets in any signs that are an aspect by degree to Venus retrograde. So Venus going from what, 10 degrees in, so planets anywhere from 10 degrees Aries to 24 degrees Pisces, and even up to 12 degrees in Aries, and 22 or 20 degrees in Pisces. In any sign, we'll get some kind of direct aspect if it's hitting a personal planet. So you want to look at what is the personal planet that it's aspecting. That's the combination. That's what's being worked on. Rin. Can I speak on the part of fortune and Capricorn in the 6th house? Yes. All right, so part of fortune, Capricorn and in the 6th. That's a double grounded placement there. So in Capricorn, the good stuff, the cream in the middle of your cookie, that's the part of fortune. It's going to come through organization, getting your shit together, adulting, finishing things, doing the hard individuation, basically. It's the individuation process and all of its exciting tendrils that are the rewards or fodder. So do more of that stuff. And then coming into the 6th house, that's the area of life that all of those things are going to show up in for you. So health, so doing all that stuff, taking action on the stuff that I talked about in Capricorn, adulting, actively participating in the creation of your own life through taking responsibility, doing the individuation process, which I talk about relentlessly all the time. It's kind of the meaning of life. Well, it's a big part of life. And then that brings results when it comes to health, acting on that stuff. Health, work, self-respect. Practice makes perfect. So it's not the most hedonistic part of fortune, but it sounds like one that might make you live longer. Hey, Ellie. You have a guy that you've loved for 7 years, and you have Venus square North Node. And that's not something that's going to say you will or won't be together. Uh, the Venus person is a part of the North Node person's Dharma and resulting karma. So there can be a conflict with the North Node, South Node person regarding where they're going and how prepared they are in regards to the Venus person. So what is their call? What is the Dharma going on here at the North Node? And then at the South Node, what is it that they are wrapped up in already? So there can be a minor conflict, but it's not something that's showing that you will or won't be together. It's just showing a part of your involvement. You don't have to worry about that one, but worry about other things. Hey, Helena. Ruma, I agree. She's got a great comment here on the Plutonian Venusian dowry system going out of style in the Aquarian age. With Pluto in Aquarius, I've noticed, though, it seems to be that there's a recent collective craving for Pluto contacts. Yes. The powers that be, the old system, the institutions that are breaking down, melting down with Saturn going through Pisces and coming up to a conjunction to Neptune. Yeah, the patriarchy ain't gonna go without a fight. It's coming up to a crescendo because we're on the precipice of breakdown in some very age-old concepts. And it's always the darkest before the dawn. So if you want to bring the age of Aquarius in, ladies, it's actually up to you. It really depends on women educating themselves, men as well, wanting to participate in truly equal relationships, not just giving it lip service, but really deciding that we're going to choose, well, what's the old saying? Love, not war. The age-old dance of Venus and Mars, yeah? The battle of the sexes. It doesn't have to be a battle. It shouldn't be. Have a little bit of play. Because that's where attraction comes from. It's that bit of sexual tension. But we shouldn't be trying to rub each other out. That's a symptom of insecurity. Lost age. Are you for serious? Because I was thinking that super chat up there, that you're just messing with me. And I don't understand it. So can you clarify at the bottom? I'll answer it if you prove to me you're not messing with me. You give me a little more information. Help me understand that question. Prove me wrong here. And I'll answer it. It may just be lost in translation. Okay. Thank you, Lost Age. Day charts versus night charts. Well, that's not really something that we focus on in Western astrology. That's something that more Vedic astrology is concerned with. But it is something that can give you an added, I mean, if it is something that you like to look at, it can give you another layer of understanding. It's another tool in your toolbox. So, if you're looking at day charts or night charts, uh, hemispheric emphasis, modes, modalities, preponderance of element, they're all tools in your toolbox. So I don't think that it's an illegitimate thing at all. And I don't think that it's going to give you more information than looking at traditional things. But you have to look at it as more details, more layers, more knowledge. So if it's something that interests you, look at it, study it, add it to your toolbox. Astrologers we all have different tools. Most of us have, the same general tools, but then we all have some different ideas and different specialties. And some of us like Hellenistic astrology, and some of us are traditional, and some of us even throw some Vedic stuff in there. So if it interests you, learn about it. Yeah, I could say that lost stage. I could agree with that. Like some people say night charts are more their moon sign. Yeah, I could agree with that because you're going to be getting the yin energy of that particular chart more. And what about part of fortune conjunct Chiron and Scorpio? So Chiron is the influence that's bringing benefit. That is the fortunate funnel. So the more you heal, the more good stuff you receive. Chiron is the lever on the lottery machine with it right next to part of fortune, and then in Scorpio, when you heal your karma, when you heal your trauma, when you heal the things that are motivating you from underneath. What do you guys think of these glasses? This is a new style. They're like skinnier. I think they look like old lady glasses. What do you think? This is me without my glasses. Hello. You never get to see me without my glasses, huh? I can't see me either right now. Hardly at all. Let's see. Okay, can you please help me to understand Ceres conjunction ascendant and then opposing Pluto within 2 degrees? I was told this is an aspect of abduction in a person. We can see things related to loss of children. Miscarriage in particular, we tend to see moon series and conjunctions related to that. The opposition, we have seen that, but it doesn't mean that that will happen. Doesn't mean an abduction will happen. It does mean that there is a hypervigilance related to hanging on to children or things that are precious or that are of your ward, that are wards of yours. And then having Ceres right on the ascendant We are a natural caretaker, animal husbandry, parenting, pets. We have an instinct for nursing, taking care of what needs us. So don't worry that that would result in an abduction. Don't lose sleep over that. Um, let's see. Hey, Lolly! Venus-Neptune transit is happening opposite your Pluto at 29 degrees. So you're having Neptune opposite Pluto? Did you mention that in class? Because we just had that lesson. Will it bring Plutonic encounters? Or the chance to clear fog, obsessions, control, manipulative traits of relationship? If Delta pass, you know what? It may bring a crescendo. You can finally figure out the weird factor of the attractions that you've been experiencing. Oh, Lolly, totally. Yeah, because you just mentioned that you had that sort of weirdo encounter. That Neptune opposite to Pluto, that is going to bring that to the surface. That's something that I should have mentioned or should have asked about. Or yeah, I guess I thought that you were in class, but that in itself can bring the undercurrent of what is attracted to us. Pluto, the undercurrent of what we ourselves are attracted to, even if we're not aware of it. Because, Pluto's so deep and weird and has all those underpinnings. And then Neptune is like the erosion. Yeah, I'll have to send you the link to that class because we did talk about very specifically about how what we put into our plutonic coffin, our vault, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it doesn't go away. What we repress, what we don't feel, particularly what we cut ourselves off from, don't feel, don't process. It sits in our basement. Pluto's the basement. And it gains influence. Somehow. So when we have a Neptune transit and the opposition. Lolly. The opposition erodes the lock on the basement door. Because Neptune works on Pluto for quite a while. I mean, this has been going on for 2 years. This is the peak year. And then next year will be the recovery phase for you. But what you have been trying to keep in that Plutonic basement, and it requires a certain amount of pressure to keep that cellar door closed. When Neptune comes along and eats away at the lock, the lid blows off because it's in opposition. So we have retrograde Venus today, conjunct to Neptune. Yeah, this can be something that marks an awareness of who you are on a deeper level. What are the Plutonic demons, feelings, unprocessed things that are coming up, that are being discovered? You're having more of a, over the next weeks, as Venus goes backwards and then forwards. Oh, not even for you. Or just really a couple weeks. Because Venus will go back to 24 degrees and then come back to 29. Those are conscious awarenesses that come through epiphany, like aha moments. Why that person? Why this? Or why was I attracted to that? Or some of the ideas, the mysteries about the lack of availability when it comes to partners, the lack of reciprocity when it comes to partners, the emotional unavailability. And seeing some things, some key things in yourself that can help you to understand why that is showing up in your reality, maybe not somebody else's. So I think it's going to lead you to be on a faster track to get what you actually want, rather than be dealing with unavailable ghosts. Oh, you had all that the past 2 years. Well, Lolly, it's been going on for 2 years. So, yeah, one more, not even a year of healing, because really it's different when, and there's no consensus on this. This is my own opinion here. When a planet goes into the next sign, it's in the next sign. It's out of sign when it comes to what it was aspecting at 29 degrees. So there's still a little bit going on, but it's not like, it's not as potent because it is in a different, it's in a different energy. So for instance, if you had everything at like 27 degrees, then you would have another full year of potent cleanup. It won't be that bad. Donnie, I just realized that the South Node transit is on my ascendant. Could you speak on that? That is a very spiritualizing transit. Very different than the North Node, where it puts us on our dharmic path. It's like it puts us clearly in view of true north. Like that is our material purpose. That's where we should be going. But the South Node at the ascendant is more being caught up in karma clearing. The past comes back to haunt us in some ways. You're welcome, Lolly. Karma is directly in our face with the South Node at the ascendant. That doesn't mean that that's bad, because sometimes karma is really good. Karma's consequences. Sometimes consequences can be damn good. We forget that part when we talk about the K word. So it depends on who you are and what you've been doing and where you're at, but it's a spiritual month. So rather than being focused on gain or purpose, we're more in communion with what is not material. That's your job, the South Node at the ascendant, to connect with what is not material. Lolly. Yeah, I agree, because, our habitual emotional patterns, they don't just release automatically, quickly, or when we tell them to. Or else, wouldn't we just tell our moon? Wouldn't we just tell our feelings? Wouldn't we just tell our unconscious to stop bothering us, to stop driving us to do this, to stop loving that person, to stop wanting that person, to stop missing that person, to stop feeling grief, to stop choosing stupid things? It's just not that easy. We would all do that. You know what I've thought about before? Wouldn't it be so easy if somebody else just made all of our decisions for us? Think about it. Think about it. They wouldn't make any emotional decisions, probably. They would just choose what was obviously or practically or materially best. In some ways, life would just probably be relatively problem-free. We wouldn't really want the things that were chosen for us, because we're emotional creatures, humans are. I think it's because we're such apex predators. We have to be emotional in order to stay safe from each other. If you can't appeal to another human's feelings, compassion, empathy, you ain't got nothing. Yep, you're in trouble if you can't stir another human's emotions. Okay, so I am going to look up and see if I'm missing any other members' questions. And then I'm going to sign off and I'm going to go make some dinner. Oh, Venusian stud. Any device for retrograded Venus in Capricorn. You mean in the natal? Retrograde Venus in any sign needs to first work on self-love before we look for love outside of ourselves. There is a necessary shoring up of the self-esteem that needs to happen. And then Venus does struggle a bit in Capricorn anyway. So there is that. I would say get yourself in a position where you are the kind of partner that you would be looking for. And then you would get the absolute best results out of Venus retrograde in Capricorn. Lana! Oh, God, I'm sorry. I outsourced that. I shouldn't have done that. Yes, I will. Well, Lana, you can be a member. You can make yourself a member. You just go to the YouTube page. You go to my main YouTube page. Or did you say you couldn't find that? But if you go to anybody who wants to be a channel member, so you can ask me questions and have access to channel member only videos and stuff, then you go find that on my page here, my main page of YouTube. It's not showing for you. It's if you're on your phone, I think it does it. People don't seem to be able to find the membership option if they're looking on their phone. So I can't add you to that myself. There's no way that I can do that. So maybe if you look on a different, ask your daughter. She'll be able to figure it out. She'll be able to do it in her sleep. And then she'll make fun of both of us because it was so easy for her. Oh, somebody says there's a button that says join next to the subscribed button. So maybe that's it. Okay. Yeah, Lana, try again. Yeah, and then you can join the transits class. There's the option to join the transits class on Wednesday or just the regular YouTube membership there. And then Venusian stud, Venus is squaring your Saturn also. So there's that other lesson there. So there's ooh, wow. So it's squaring the ruler of Venus itself. This is a good lesson here, guys. So what Venusian stud is describing is, I don't know if you're he or her, I can't tell, but they are describing that they have Venus in Capricorn retrograde, and then Venus is square to Saturn. That means Venus is square to the boss of Venus. Venus is ruled by Saturn because it's in Capricorn. And then Venus is square to Saturn. Venus is square to the boss of Venus. This increases the difficulty. Oh, Venusian study or her. I can't, these pictures are so tiny, I can't see. That could be anybody. It increases the difficulty when we have a planet that is square to its boss, because it's like being at a job and your boss has a problem with you. So Venus and Saturn, because they're square, they're already working something out. There's a conflict here with emotional availability, the regularity of love, the availability of love, reciprocal love. And then on top of that, there's an added layer of isolation that has to be broken through. Because Venus and Saturn aren't just having a conflict in the workplace, like a regular square. They're having a conflict in the workplace, and Saturn's also the boss of Venus. That makes it more difficult. So remember that when you see planets that rule planets and then they're in a difficult aspect. Or when you see planets that rule planets and then they're in an easy aspect. It makes it easier. Lost age, every square in my chart is a square between the boss of the planet and the planet itself. Sometimes we see that. Yeah. You asked for a hard one there. And then Aaron, my Venus has all good aspect. Oh, well, aren't you special, Aaron? I don't think the rest of us can say that. Well, that's nice if you can get it, sweetie, really. I was just making fun of you because we're all a little bit jealous. Okay, so I'm just scrolling up to see if I missed any questions. If I did, I'm sorry, guys. Put it in the bottom again so I can see it. Oh, but Aaron, it's in the 12th. Okay, well, you're not getting off too easy. I have Venus in the 12th too. No, you can have love. Absolutely, you can. Yes. But you need to make sure that you are choosing people who can reciprocate, who can give back to you, who can return your love. We do tend to get into relationships that happen more in the background or where we aren't completely legitimized in some way. So do not accept a situationship or a friends with benefits situation if that's not what you want. If it is what you want, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If it's okay, really, authentically, and both people are in agreement with that. But if you are being offered something and it's not a good enough offer, and if you're being breadcrumbed, if you're not feeling fully fed in a relationship, then don't entertain that, because that's what we can really get into trouble with Venus in the 12th house. Aaron, I don't see the question, Aaron. I'm looking. Hold on. Oh, I have my Venus and Libra in the 12th. Never had an affair, dealt with someone married, but I struggle to find romantic connection with available people. See, that's the thing, is you can't put up, you can't accept what isn't good enough for you. We do tend to settle. And we tend to look for the best in people and hope for the best, even though we're not seeing the evidence of that. So, Aaron, if someone's not showing up for you, that's a big problem with Venus in the 12th. People don't show up for us. If someone's being not inconsistent, if they are not not feeding you full meals, they're not there for you, they aren't for you. So don't entertain something that's a ghost relationship. We tend to hang on to ghost relationships or be attracted to people that are not fully available with Venus in the 12th. Don't get into that. That's puts you in a position where you're not materializing real love. You're just caught up in the illusion of romance. And that is in service to all kinds of identity ideas. But it's heartbreaking. And it's a waste. Well, good for you, Refacy. I don't know how to say your name. This Venus retrograde has brought me to the most genuine, reciprocal, loving relationship I never thought I would ever be able to experience. So this retrograde is going to be great. Should I be worried about Venus and Pisces? No, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you've got something here that you've actually got a hold of that's tangible to you. It sounds like Venus in Pisces is only going to deepen things for you if things are going well. Well, Aaron, take heart. Sometimes we have to be past our Saturn return. I don't know how old you are, sweetie. But oftentimes we have to be past our Saturn return before we break out of our 12th house issues and start to really ground things in our life. Donnie, could I also speak on the North Node transit on my descendant? That's the Dharma. The karma is at the ascendant. The Dharma is related to the shadow. That's what you're being called to deal with, the shadow side, and called to relationships. Called to deal with relationships and be in relationships at this time. And balance that with the need for solitude. You need to ground yourself in your sovereignty. Okay, guys, I am losing my voice. So I only have like 5 more minutes. ER. Do you think promiscuity is generally bad or unwise? Yes, I think that is unwise. Now, we can have different, because I think it's disrespectful for ourselves, and it's more in service to surface relationships. Now, we can have seasons in our life where we can be drawn to certain types of relationships or experiences because those are the lessons that we're learning. Say we have, which most of us will have in our lifetime, a Uranus transit to a personal planet. Or we'll have a progressed moon in maybe Leo or Aries, Libra. There can be seasons, eras of our life where we are drawn to more experimental relationships, more frequent relationships, unexpected or unplanned relationships. Like recently, I'm right at the tail end of the progressed moon in Leo, and that was my 2.5 years of dating. That's what I was doing. Now the moon is going into Cancer, and I just want to stay home. So it's a different pace. So we can have some times in our life where promiscuity is the lesson, or that is what we're drawn to that year, or that is how we're learning. Maybe we're just skimming the surface for a while. But I don't think that we should live that way always. I think that we need to be looking for people or relationships where we can really be known, and where there's the possibility of more authentic sharing. Okay, guys. Donnie, you guys are killing me. Listen to my voice. I don't have anything left. So I'll pick up these last couple questions here, but I'm starting to sound like I have a cold. Donnie, what about moon in the 12th house? Not so much a culprit as Venus in the 12th when it comes to ghost relationships or undefined or ungrounded relationships. But we may not know what our feelings are. See, we don't know what we want or what we love with Venus in the 12th. We don't know what we feel with the moon in the 12th. We don't know who we are with the sun in the 12th. We don't know how to control our anger, even from where it comes from, with Mars in the 12th. We may not be sure about our opinions, or even sure about our thoughts. And Mercury in the 12th. It's a house of mystery. So with the moon in the 12th, we need to bring our attention back to our feelings many, many times throughout the day and reacquaint ourselves with what our feelings are, what's going on with us, what our needs are. Hey, Miss Incredible, do you have a question? Yeah, I have many questions about Sun opposite Pluto. Well, there's a lot to say about that. It really depends on what the Sun sign is in. Now, do you identify as the aggressor or as a victim, or do you get some of both? And do you either need to develop awareness if you identify with being more of the aggressor, develop awareness around self-control when it comes to reining in some of your power urges? Or do you need to stand up for yourself and prevent other people from taking advantage of you? You need to look at what side are you on there. And then start working on that, depending on which side you err on, victim or dominator. Bye, Lolly. You're a cutie. So, it was incredible. It sounds like your sun is in Taurus, so that is not the most aggressive place for the sun to be. So you may be dealing with some victimization and need to look at how can you recognize right from the beginning who isn't going to be a support for you, who isn't going to be a help for you, and weed them out immediately so you don't waste your precious energy. Hey, Samantha. Yep, just go to my website and you can book a reading with me. I think I have openings next week. And Miss Incredible, you can also book a reading with me. And we can talk about your Sun Pluto stuff in depth and see if there's any other aspects that are mitigating that. Okay, Erin, you just keep asking me this. How long did you wait till you found a solid relationship? Well, I got married. Well, I got with my ex-husband when I was 22. I had some really nice boyfriends before that. A couple of jerks, but generally men treat me very well. And so I met my ex-husband when I was 22. Then we got married when I was 24. And then we were married for 22 years. And we're still extremely good friends. I really like him. We still really enjoy each other's company. I have a lot of respect for him. So that's, that was my relationship for a long time until we decided we wanted different things. We had lifestyle differences. He wanted to live in the suburbs. I wanted to live in the country. He didn't want a country lifestyle. But we still go on vacation together. We still spend time with each other. Sometimes he even still takes me on a date. And now I'm in a stable relationship with Mark. But he lives in Florida. He lived here all through last year, but then he ended up moving to Florida in October because his family lives there. And his mother's aging and she needs his help. And his children also live there as well. So I encouraged him to go and be with his people because there's always airplanes. And we actually didn't intend to have a long distance relationship because I don't do long distance relationships. I really don't see any value in it. But we decide we can do whatever we want to do because our relationship is based on compassionate non-attachment. And when you have a relationship that's based on compassionate non-attachment, it doesn't have the same limitations. It doesn't have the same anchors that platonic relationships do, or like normal relationships. So there's a lot of flexibility because in compassionate non-attachment, there isn't jealousy. There isn't insecurity. There isn't blame. We have two people that are meeting their own needs and are good on their own and aren't together because they need each other. They're together because they prefer each other. They like each other. They want each other. And so you don't have the blame and the reaching and the need that you have in a typical relationship. So we'll see what happens. He can easily move back here. But I will be going back to visit him, what, week after next? So I'll be coming to you from Florida again. So, yeah, also with compassionate non-attachment relationships, there's such a ease of agreement that any changes that need to be made, updates, they don't come with arguments. Yeah. Yeah, real nice, safe, secure, exciting, comforting relationship. Peaceful. No fear. And yes, we have Moon square to Uranus. And Venus squaring Uranus also, and opposing the Moon. So that ideal emotional connection with that Moon-Venus opposition. If you can get Moon-Venus aspects in composite charts, you're lucky. The trine is the best. The opposition is the next best. The sextile is fabulous. The conjunction, oh yes. The square, there's a lot of love and attraction and affection, but it doesn't imply automatic emotional compatibility like the other aspects. The in conjunction, no, that's not one that shows up as emotional compatibility. Okay. ER, are compassionate non-attachment relationships supposed to be monogamous? Mine is. I don't do non-monogamy. Some people have non-monogamous, compassionate non-attachment relationships, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I have no voice left. And I will flip over very quickly. Will I? Yeah, I should. I should flip over to Instagram really quickly for just a few minutes. And then what is tomorrow, Friday? Then I'll probably see you tomorrow. I'll take a few questions tomorrow if I have a chance. Okay? You guys have a good night.